Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Peites Amud Aleph, starting with Peiches Amud Beis, 16 lines from the bottom. The Mishnah brings a case where the rabbi, the master of the Eved, instructs him to bring him a Korban Pesach from, let's say, a tle. The Eved forgets what it is that he instructed him to do, to bring a tle or to bring a gedi. Ketzad Yasa asked the Mishnah, what should he do? He should go ahead and shecht first a tle and make a t'nai. If this is what the rabbi instructed me to do, this will be for him. And when he then shechts the gedi, it's for himself. This is shali. And indeed, he does the opposite as well. He says, if the gedi is indeed what the rabbi was instructing, then that will be his. And therefore the tle will be shali. Ask the Gemara right away, shali? Can the Eved say it's mine? Ask the Gemara, there's a klal that we have. Hare mashikana Eved kana rabbi. Whatever an Eved acquires belongs to his master. Omar Abaye. Abaye said, Hoylech etzel roye de rogil rabbi etzloi. He should go to a roye, the one who sells him in his animals, and he should then ask him the following. Tell him that his master instructed him, but he doesn't know which animal, is it a tali or a gedi, that belongs to then his Korban Pesach. Since the roya has close contact with his rabbi, therefore he will want to help him and he'll want to assist him in getting a Korban Pesach. Therefore, he will then makne to the Eved the animal on condition that the master does not have any reshus in it, whereby he can say shali and it doesn't belong to the master. Says the Gemara, Shochach Rabbi Masha Omar Lo. Here, not only did the master instruct him and he forgot what the master had said, but the master himself forgot what he instructed him. Says the Gemara, Amar Abaye. Abaye says, Lo shonu ele sheshochach achar zrika. We're talking about where he forgot, the master forgot what animal he instructed him to shecht for his Korban Pesach after the zrikas hadam, after the avodah. The ba'ina de izrik dam havichazi la'achila. Because at the time when there was a zrikas hadam, it was roy, it was chazi, it was fitting to be eaten. And therefore, we say that the din is that it's going to be pturin, both the Eved and the rabbi from a Korban Pesach Sheni. In other words, the din is that they don't know which one it is, so therefore they can't eat it. So both the animals have to go to be burnt. But in terms of their chiyuv of Korban Pesach, they're yotzi yidei chavos, and they don't have to bring Korban Pesach le Pesach Sheni. Aval shochach livnei zrika. However, if he forgot, meaning the master forgot, even before the zrikas hadam, the ki izrik dam lo yahav v'chaz la'achilo as chayovin la'asos Pesach Sheni. Then both the Eved and the master will be obligated to make a Korban Pesach Sheni. There are those who taught what Abaye said on the following brisa, not on the Mish, but rather on this brisa. There were 5 who had made Korban Pesach, and their aros, which is given to the bailim, they're given the hides afterwards, and it was mixed up which hide belonged to which owner. And they found a wart, a yabelis, on one of these hides, which makes it then that the animal was a balmum, and therefore the korban is posel. However, they don't know which one it is because they got mixed up. So the din is that they all go, as the Mishnah says over here, similarly, they all got burnt in the Beis HaSreifa, they have to be burnt, but they all were yotzi dechayvosan in their Korban Pesach Rishon, they don't have to bring Korban Pesach Sheni. Omar Abaye. Abaye then taught on this brisa, according to this. This is talking about when they got mixed up only after the avodah, after the zrikas hadam. The be'idna da zrik da miho havachazi la'achila, because at the shas of the zrika it was still roy la'achila. But if it was mixed up before the Zrikas Hadam, then they will all have to bring a Pesach Sheni. So Gemara points out, Man de Masni Adamas Nisin, the one who teaches that Abai said this on the Mishnah, then Kol Shekain, Abraisa, then certainly he would then say, this is the din also when it comes to the Braisa, that indeed, that if they themselves only, or the master rather, only remembered he remembered that it was a tleh that he sent, for example, and he remembered that only before the zrika, then it's going to be valid. But if he only remembered after the zrika sadam, then they are going to be chayv, he and the eved, to bring a carbon. So if that's so, then kol shekin abraisa, certainly they will be chayiv to bring a carbon Pesach Sheni when their 5 hides got mixed up. Kol shekin. What's the kol shekin? Because if in case the case where the Mishnah, where there it was really a valid carbon, they just don't know which would it belong to, and still we're saying that since it was done after the Zrikas Hadam, when the master only remembered before Zrikas Hadam, so then they're going to be chayovin to bring a carbon Pesach Sheni. So then Kol Shekain, when it comes to these 5, where the actual one of the 5 was actually posul. Mandamasni Abraisa, however, the one who taught this din in the Braisa, Aval Amasnisin Loy, but he would not necessarily teach it in the Mishnah. Again, the one in the Braisa who teaches, when the got mixed up, which one was the one with the Balmum. So we say over there, according to Abaye, that if it's after the Zrikas Hadam, so then we're going to say that they're Chayavin in Korban Pesach Sheni. But that's not so, therefore, however, if that would be the case in the case of the Mishnah, where the rabbi, forgot which one was it he instructed the Eved before the Zrikas Hadam. Kivan deshksherin because there, since it's kosher, but etzem intrinsically they're kosher, we just don't know who it belongs to. The itka have chazi lechila, because if it was remembered, then it would be roy lachila. Then kamishmayad galia. So we say before Shmaya, before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it is revealed, and therefore then they would be potter from Korban Pesach Sheni. The Gemara bring back the previous statement, Omar Mar, Upturim Malasas Pesach Sheni, and they would be potter from bringing a carbon Pesach Sheni. Says the Gemara, V'ha'ika chad deloy nafik. The Gemara asks, why is it, according to this that we said before in this brisa, that when one gets mixed up with the other 4, that all 5 of them are mixed up together, and there was a yabelis that was found in one of them. So why is it that there's a din that they're pturin from the Korban Pesach Sheni? Hare asked the Gemara, one of them was lo nofak. One of them was not valid, and since it got mixed up, so therefore we don't know which one it was. So therefore they should all be not valid, but thereby they should all bring the Korban Pesach Sheni. Gemara answers, Mishum deloy efshar, because it's not possible for them to bring a Korban Pesach Sheni. What are they supposed to do? Lesin kol chad v'chad Pesach, for each one to bring his own individual Korban Pesach. They can't bring each one a Korban Pesach because since 4 of the 5 did bring a Korban Pesach before, so therefore this would be chulin la'azara. Lesin kul chad Pesach, if they would all bring one Korban Pesach together, so that's also not possible because nimsa Pesach nechad shel. Because it would come out that of these 5, 4 of them were already also Yosi their Korban Pesach, whereby they were already Manu, they're already included in the previous Pesach, they can't be included in this Pesach. Mai. So the Gemara says, what do you say that there's not a possibility of explaining how they can be Chai a Korban Pesach Sheni? Naisi kol chad minayu pischoi. Let them all bring a Korban Pesach, v'neisi v'neimar, and say the following tonight. What's the condition? Ididi balmum, hi, the icy hashtaniu Pesach. If mine was the one that was the balmum, so then this animal will be my Korban Pesach. V'ididi tam hi, the icy hashtani ave shlomim. However, if that was a tam, then that means to say that my Korban Pesach was already satisfied. So this behema is a Korban Shlomim. Why can't they make such a Tanai, each one? Gemara says, Lo efshar, is not possible. And have pei tes amad alif. Mishum di'ika chazei v'shoik. The kohanim hu da'achli lei, because of the korban shlomim, there's the matnos kahuna of the chazeh and the shoik, which have to be given to the kohen to be eaten. And since over here it's not possible to give to the kohanim, because after all, maybe it's also a korban pesach, and therefore they were not considered of the ones who were menuyov, so therefore it's not going to be possible. The Gemara says, "V'naisi kochad v'chad kohen behadei." So let each one bring a kohen with him, whereby he can then give the chazeh v'shoik to the kohen. The Gemara says, "Hi kohen heichi dami." What's the case of the kohen that you're talking about? You would give him the chazeh v'shoik. Ida ovid pesach. If he already did and brought the korban pesach, then dilma hai pesach. Maybe this is a korban pesach. V'nimtza pesach necha shalol menuyov. And therefore, this korban pesach is being eaten by somebody who was not included. He can't be included in the second korban pesach. V'deloy ovid pesach. If he did not fulfill his mitzvah of korban pesach before, dilma shlomim hu v'lo ovid pesach. So this would be a korban shlomim. He did not then fulfill a mitzvah of korban pesach, which is chayiv koris. Gemara says, "V'naisi kol chamisha chad kohen deloy ovid pesach." Let all five of them bring a kohen who did not bring a korban pesach. V'neimni ilavei hani chamisha psachim, and let them be included in these five korban pesach. Let them be included in these five korban pesachim. In other words, you'll have him eat the chazeh v'shok in all of them. The Gemara says, "Demuan of shach ikechad deloy ovid pesach." One of them, of the five, did not fulfill his mitzvah of korban pesach because his korban pesach had a yabeles, whereby he'll be nafke, he'll be yoitze with this animal as a korban pesach. So why don't we then say that that's a possibility? Gemara says, Ella, because of this more fundamental problem with what we said before. Ella mishum de kamamayit be'achile shlomim. If you're going to say that you're going to have a pesach and making a t'nai, if it's a pesach or if it's a shlomim, so you're going to have a problem because you're mimayit the amount of time that you can eat the korban shlomim, which is 2 nights and a day, whereas the korban pesach is only 1 night and a day. In other words, you can eat it only the entire night, or the next morning you have to burn it. Whereas korban shlomim, you already have more time. So you'll be mimayit the achila of korban shlomim. The ilu pesach liyoyim v'layla, v'ilu shlomim l'shnei yamim v'layla echad. So more now suggests, v'neisi, okay, that's not possible, but v'neisi Moiser HaPesach. Let us suggest that they bring a Moiser HaPesach v'neima. Now, Moiser HaPesach, the Gemara understands at this point, is they can suggest already by bringing an animal as Moiser HaPesach, as L'chatchil is saying, this is going to be a korban pesach, and this is going to be Moiser HaPesach, a korban shlomim. V'neima ididi Baal Mum. If my korban was a Baal Mum, then haida I see hashta nahave Pesach. This one I'm bringing now is a korban Pesach. Idi tam, however, if what I brought was a korban, was a tam, and therefore was a korban pesach, a valid korban pesach, then nahave hai da isi hashta shlomim. Then what I'm bringing now is a korban shlomim. The moisa pesach nechal liyoyim v'layla echad. So now I satisfy that problem. The Gemara says that's not so simple to then say that this is a moisa pesach. You can't do that. Says the Gemara, can you mafresh an animal as a carbon, consecrated as a carbon to be a Moisar Pesach? When do we say Moisar Pesach? Moisar Pesach is when a person had a carbon, let's say Pesach, it got lost, you know where it was, so in its place he then made a new carbon, Pesach, then they found that original carbon. That's called Moisar Pesach, and it's brought as a Shlomim. But you can't lechatchila go ahead and mafresh an animal for Moisar Pesach. So that's not a possibility. V'nitrechu, the Gemara suggests v'naisi moisar pesach. Okay, so let us try to find somebody who had lost, for example, their korban pesach, then subsequently slaughtered a korban pesach, and then they found this original korban pesach, and then you can go ahead and get moisar pesach from them. Ella says Gemara mishum. The reason why they can't bring the korban pesach sheni is because ella mishum smicha. Because when it comes to korban pesach, cannot bring smicha. You cannot do smicha. Smicha is leaning on the animal. And here the Gemara is learning, according to the Manda Omer, that you lean fully, your full weight on the animal. That you cannot do, because after all, that would be a problem of being ovid avoid the bekochim. The ilu pesach loy boy smicha. When it comes to pesach, you don't do smicha. The ilu moisar boy smicha. Whereas by moisar pesach, which would be a shlomim, you would do smicha. So that's not a possibility, because in the tzad that this is a korban pesach, then you're then again doing avoid the bekochim. Gemara says, "Hatinach karbin anoshim." That's all very good if the carbon was for a man who does smicha. But korban nashim ma'ika lemeimar. But the korban of nashim, what are you going to say? They don't do smicha. Elo mishum matanos. Rather, it's for the applications of the dam on the mizbeach that makes it different between a korban pesach and the korban shlomim. The ilu pesach matana achas, the ilu shlomim shtayim shehin dalid. The korban pesach you only give one application on the mizbeach by the yesoid, whereas the korban shlomim you give it in two corners where it's going to be like four. My nafkamina asking still, why would that be a problem? What's the difference? V'hotanan, it states in the Mishnah, kol hanitonin al mizbeach hachitzoin. All those applications that are put on the outer mizbeach, shenisalanon b'matan achas kiper, and he puts it only one matana, so it's still valid. In other words, b'di'ev, we say it's valid. So over here too, it would be valid. El Rada says more mishum di ilu pesach b'shvicha. The ilu shlomim bezrika. The korban pesach, you're shoifech the dam on the mizbeach, you pour it, whereas shlomim, you're zorek the dam from far. I asked the Gemara the same question. My nafkamina, what's the difference? V'hotanya kolanitonin bezrika shenosonon b'shvicha yotza. All of the applications that you throw, if you do it with shvicha, then you're going to be yotze. Says the Gemara, Eimer the Kamrinon the Avad. The Gemara says, when did we say that's only b'di'evet that these things are still valid? That you do it with one shvicha, or you do it with one application rather of dam, or shvicha instead of zrika. So the Gemara says, no, but lechatchila, nami, would we say lechatchila only b'di'evet? And therefore that's not going to be a possibility whereby they cannot then bring a korban pesach sheni. The next Mishnah says as follows: Ha'oimer lebonov, one who states to his children, Hareini shoichet es hapesach al mishayalep mikem rishon lav Yerushalayim. He goes to Yerushalayim early on in Yudalid, and as he says to his children, those who will then come, and he declares the first one who enters Yerushalayim, then he says he will be shoichet the korban pesach for him. Kivan shehichnis harishon, when the first of his children enter Yerushalayim, roishay veruboy, his head and the majority of his body, the Mishnah says, Zocha bechelkoi umezake es echov imoy. He's zoiche in his own chelek of the korban pesach, and also for his brothers. The Gemara has to explain, l'chara, how does this work? Says the Gemara, Shma Mina, we hear from here, Yesh Breira, from the fact that this one who did come first is zoiche, must be that there's breira, because when the father shechted l'chara, it seems from the Mishnah that he shechted the korban pesach, and he said whoever comes in first, but he didn't designate. And when it comes to our korban pesach, you have to designate specifically who's going to be included in the korban pesach. So it must be that we say that there is breira, that the one who then entered Yerushalayim first, Roshei Verubai, we say that he was the one. It's clarified retroactively that he was the one that was included in the korban pesach for his father. Rabbi Yochanan said, no, that's not the pshat. There's no breira. We don't say breira over here, because breira we don't say derais on deraises. Ella, says Rabbi Yochanan, kedei lezarzin b'mitzvahs komim. He wasn't coming. He was only coming to mizarez and mitzvahs. He really included his whole mishpacha, all of the children. Well, why did he say that whoever comes first into Yerushalayim, he will be the one I'm zeichet to? No, he's coming to mizarez them in order to then allow that one to then ultimately be mechalek and have the first portion of the korban pesach. But certainly he included all of them. The Gemara says, Dekanam, you can also medayek this from the lashon of the Mishnah. Diktani, it states in the Mishnah, umezake echav imo. He's mezake his brothers with him. If you want to say that the father included the entire mishpacha, all of the children in the korban pesach, then it's very well that when the one who entered, the father, the brother that entered, that he entered first, so then he's zoiche, and he's zoiche mzakes ochiv echov imoy. Then it works out very good, because they were all included initially in the korban pesach. Eliyam is delay amninu mikara. But if you're going to say that they were not included in the korban pesach of their father first, initially, meaning before the shchita, then labasa the shachid mikemasamnu. then after the Shechita, can anybody be included in the Korban Pesach? Behold, we have the Mishnah, Lekamon, Lekamei, it says, V'hotanan, Nimnin u'moishchin yedehem imenu asher yishachet. It says that you can be included in the Korban Pesach, and you can then take yourself away outside of the group that was in the Korban Pesach. You can withdraw yourselves until the Shechita. So it must be, therefore, perforce, that all of the children were included in their father's Korban Pesach initially before the Shechita. Shma Mina, indeed, we can then prove that. Tanya Nami Hachi, the Gemara also brings a brisa to support that he was only come to Mazaris, his children. Says that the brisa, Maise v'kadmu b'nois lebanim. There's a Maisa, and the Banois, the daughters, they preceded the sons. So the brisa comments, V'nimtza Banois Zrizois ubanim shvelim. So it praises the Banos as being Zrizim. So we see from over here, the brisa does not state that the Banim who are shvelim are not including the Korban Pesach. It should have stated if that's the case. Elamai, they were all including Korban Pesach. But we see from here that the Banos who were first are called Zrizim, and the Banim are shvelim. The Mishnah goes on to say, Lo oilam nimnin alav ajiyek boy kezayis lekol echad ve'echad. Always, those who are included in a Korban Pesach must be included. They each have at least of a kezayis of the Korban Pesach. The Mishnah goes on, Nimnin u'moishchin es yedehen mimenu ashi shochet. That's what we just quoted before. You can be included in a Korban Pesach, or you can withdraw yourself from a Korban Pesach, providing it's until the Shah of the Shechita. Rabbi Shimon Oimer Ashi Yizroik Es Adam, until the Zrika of the Dam. The Gemara will explain what is the machlekes between Rabbi Shimon and the Tanakama. Ask the Gemara, my kamashma, in the first case, to say that each person who's included in the Chabura has to have at least a kazayis of Basai Shadakar Pesach, what's it coming to then teach? Hakamashmalan, more explains, the Afaga the Imni Alav Chabura Zu, that even though they're included in this Chabura, Choizeres V'nimna Alav Chabura Acheres, they can go ahead and they can withdraw, the entire Chabur can withdraw, and another Chabur can be in their place. And that's a Chiddush, because there's a machlokes if you have to keep at least one person in the original Chabura for it to be valid. And here this Tana holds, not like that. This Tana holds that the entire Chabura can withdraw themselves. The Gemara says, Nimnin u'moishchin es yedehem ash yishachet. They can withdraw their inclusion in the Chabura until the Shah of the Shechita. Nimnin u'moishchin es yedehem ash yishachet v'chulei. Omar Abai comments on this Mishnah. Machlekes limoshe. The machlekes between the Tanakama and Rabbi Shimon is limoshe, to withdraw oneself, to then withdraw, to be no longer concluded in the Chabura. The Rabban and Savrei, they learn from the pasuk Miyos Miseh, and they darshan Miyos Miseh to be that the Seh is still Kayam. Michiyusei the Seh, that the Seh, he says, is still alive. That means only to the Shasa Shechita can you go ahead and withdraw your inclusion in the Chabura. Rabbi Shimon Sover Haviyose the Seh. Rabbi Shimon learns from these words, Miyois Miseh, he darshim vayase deseh. That means it means the entire avoid, including the Zrikas Hadam. And therefore, even if it's after the Shechita, they can still withdraw their inclusion in the Chabura. Aval limonois, but to be included in the Chabura, to be counted, divrei hakol asher yishachet. Everybody, including Rabbi Shimon, agrees that you only have until the time of the Shechita. Once the Shechita was made, nobody can now be included and added onto the Chabura. Doma Krok, as the pasuk says, b'michsas nefoshois, in the counting of the nefoshois that are going to be involved in the Korban Pesach, v'hoda, and then after is dir tachoisoi, and they learn from this word tachoisoi that over here means not just the counted, but are the animals slaughtered for those who were counted. So it has to be shas of the shechita. Tani nami hok, we have a brisa that supports this. Nimninu moishchin es yedehem. They can be included in the chabur. They can then withdraw themselves from the chabura ad sheyishachet, until the shas of the shechita. That's the Tanakama. Rabbi Shimon oimer nimnin ad sheyishachet. they are included in the Chabura until Shas Shchita. But they can exclude, they can withdraw their inclusion from the Chabura until the Zrikas Adam. So here clearly it states in the Braisa that Rabbi Shimon is only choylek in regards to the taking away, the withdrawing from the Chabura. But to be included in the Chabura, even he agrees, you can only do so until the Shas of the Shechita.